Need a Titan, no took her to Hermes. Got her items up, what and it fucked up. And a spider home. Free the guy down the road, gotta hide the phone. Had my name from the street, not a microphone. Ain't no sleep, she on toot, I took Adderall. Niggas act like they us, but they not at all. Caught the baddest shit that we forgot to call. I put down in my teeth like on power wall. Pretty titties, her whole body sauce off. Hold the back of her head till her jaws locked. I don't care what he do, he a cornball. Extra legs, I'm dressing, I'm stuffed game. I'm the real one, 2 million on pinky ring. Come through pimping like Pinky without the cane. Niggas thinking they happy, they Eddie Kane. I been put on this stuff since my baby frame. Walk around with $1, that's pocket change. Niggas think that you smart till you knock your brain. I done brought the rover like on the flame. Me and Ski trying to see who the coldest shit. If I see you with bro, I don't know the bitch. Extra stuff every time, extra stuff every time, extra stuff every time when I'm stepping out. Put on stuff every time, put on stuff every time, put on stuff every time when I'm stepping out.
8x8, 36, 0 waste, 3 on 3, my type of date. All this stuff, I might be late. It's all this stuff, 8x8. Stuff, stuff, stuff. Stuff, 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 stuff. Stuff, 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 stuff. Wow, breaking the 9. Inside the spot, you know 3 of them mine. Feel like one oak and they one of a kind. 3 of a kind. Put on my ice and all 3 of them blind. I put grease in my soda, I'm trying to get fried. She rocking that out, but she trying to get high. Rubbers on rubbers, I never get tired. Bought her that ice and I know she still lying. Brought number 1 on the plane cause she fly. Brought number 2 a new whip, she got dry. Brought number 3 a new Gucci, suck dick. Brought number 4 a new stick cause she 5. Brought number 5, she not 5, number 5, number 5, number 5, number 5, number 5. Yeah, one at a time. Yeah. Stop. Wow.
Today, we're going to talk about the loaded college basketball slate, crafting the TNT two-piece, and we got to smack a squad ride. This is Behind the Lines. Cooper Kupp might be washed. 4 targets, no catches. The guy ran a half a marathon. I've seen 20 tweets about it this morning. The guy didn't do a single thing.
Yeah, that was a frustrating bagel for a lot of fantasy owners.
Is this what we've become down in Blacksburg? Just complacent, happy to be going about our day and being a moose shit program, celebrating a kid getting 1 point against North Carolina A&T? He better fucking score a point. You're playing North Carolina A&T. He's leading college football, Jovan, in every single statistical category for a wide receiver. Every single one. And you don't give that guy the award? Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. At the end of the day, you got to reward teams for winning fucking games. And if they're in a power conference, they're in a power conference. I'm tired of this big dick swinging contest between the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, and ACC. At the end of the day, you got to fucking reward winning. What's going on, chat? Happy BTL episode 616 piece. As always, hold the fry, joined by your 2 hosts, Krabs and Jovan, presented by SeatGeek. If you're going to any games this weekend, maybe you're going to see the Commies play the Lions. Get your tickets on SeatGeek. Use promo code Bookit10 and get a discount on all future purchases. Okay, plug that code in. Bada bing, bada boom. You get a discount on all your future purchases on SeatGeek. It's that simple. Okay, Jovan, happy Tuesday. What a game on Sunday night, man. I know it didn't go your way, but holy smokes. What a game.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Oh, we got fucking cannons going off during hot dog reviews. We've got Jane Daniels leading our team down to victory, and Zane Gonzalez, doink it in, game winners. Unbelievable game, Jovan. That stadium's nice as well. I want to give you some credit. I was impressed by the club level section. They got some good food and good vibes up there as well. The fans were not too mean. We had a damn good time at that game, win or lose, right?
Yeah. Thank God it wasn't a million degrees again.
Yeah. I heard people bitching at the hotel about that. They were like, yeah, me and my buddies said we would never come back down here after week 1 because it was so fucking hot. It was a little cooler at this point in the playoffs, right? You can get down there. It was perfect, like 50 degrees. Could not ask for a better night for football. And the game absolutely delivered. JD5, moving on. Who would have thought? A day or 2 after the game now, Jovan, we've had some time to unpack it. How are you feeling as the season comes to an end? Are you blown that Baker and co. Maybe blew some opportunities. Are you mad at coach still? You want coach out of here? How are you feeling about your Bucks, postseason now?
I mean, I've wanted Bulls gone for a while. I think a majority of the fan base does. And I don't know. It was really poorly managed the entire game because you could tell what the Commanders were trying to do. They were just playing keep away the entire game. The Bucks only ran 44 plays, and the defense couldn't get off the field because they were, I mean, really from the first drive of the game, every single play working the play clock down to 0. So they just allowed them to do that the entire game. When you do that, the offense has got to be absolutely perfect every step of the way, and it wasn't. And then you could look at 50 different things of not calling a timeout and letting 20 seconds run off the clock, or just overall just questionable game management. So yeah, Bulls was bad. Haven't changed my stance on that. I mean, I've wanted him gone for a while. Nothing's changed now. He's probably not going to be gone, but it's what I wish would happen. But at the end, I'm really not all that mad because I did think whether the road was ended 2 days ago or whether they're headed to Philly this coming weekend, their season was over anyway.
Yeah, your Eagles look good. I cannot deny your Eagles look pretty darn good. After that big-time Packers win, you'll be feeling pretty good about your future, huh?
Yeah, and I don't want to be because that's one of the bets I'm probably rooting against probably the most out of a lot of them that I've placed. But hoping I'm wrong. I just definitely have that feeling. We're going to see them in New Orleans in a couple weeks.
You think Menendez had any chance against the Lions on the road this weekend, Saturday night?
Of course, especially being that, I mean, the Lions defense is banged up as is. I know they played really well against the Vikings, but after what we saw last night from the Vikings, I think we all can be, collectively a little less impressed at that. So, I mean, they're super banged up. If the Commanders do what they did against the Bucks, and I'm not saying that the Bucks are the Lions, but they just keep the ball out of Jared Goff's hands for as long as they can in that game, take their points when they can get them. Maybe unlike the Bucks game where they left 6-9 points on the board with fourth down conversions, where they probably should have just taken the field goal and that game would have been over by that point anyway. They can do that, and that obviously it's a big if. I mean, I think that game could be really, really weird.
Yeah, the spread would say differently. And I'm hearing that we might have Montgomery back for this game, which scares the heck out of me. But I think we got a chance. I think the Commies can beat anybody at this point. I really do.
They can.
We're going to need some help. We're going to need the Lions to not, have their A game or have their fastball. But if that's the case, I think we can beat anybody. Can we get Goots up here for a little rundown of Saturday night at Ravens game? Gootsy, how we feeling after that smackdown on the Steelers?
Yeah, I mean, like I told you guys earlier, I've been to plenty of Ravens games, probably 3 digits at this point. And I haven't seen an environment that crazy in a while. So it was a lot of fun. Rav is a bitch. Team's little boys. TJ Watt not recording a stat at all against a rookie right tackle. Defensive player of the year, I bet.
Yeah, that can't happen.
It's a matter of men versus boys. Rav's are little boys. Steelers little boys. Ravens are men. So, yeah. That's what it's about.
Derrick Henry, grown man.
He's a grown man.
Anybody see that line flip in that Bills and Ravens game? Anybody see that?
I saw it.
Obviously, the look-ahead lines had the Bills -1.5. Now we're seeing the Ravens -1.5 on the road at Buffalo.
Yeah.
After that smackdown.
I was very surprised they were not favorites to begin with.
Yeah, same. But I think after that performance, maybe people were all hammering the Ravens, or the odds makers had to move their line a little bit, which is probably where it should be now. I mean, the Ravens are dominating.
I mean, we already beat them by 25 earlier in the year. So
you already smacked them once this year. That's another really good point, right? We'll see how it goes. That's going to be an unbelievable game this upcoming weekend. Any thoughts on Houston, Kansas City? You think the Texans have any chance of pulling off an upset there?
I mean, I didn't think it was really possible watching that Texans game to out-ass CJ Stroud, but somehow Justin Herbert found a way by a pretty wide margin at that. Play like that on the road against the Chiefs. Have fun, brother. CJ Stroud is terrible. They're going to get destroyed. But you will know the Chiefs. I mean, even though it's the playoffs now, they'll play with their food for a little bit. So maybe it'll be close in the end and they'll have a shot like on paper, but you know damn well the Texans are not going to be close to winning that game.
Mm. And then Rams, Eagles. Looks like the Eagles are laying 6 points. You think the Rams can keep that within, 6 or a tutty almost?
I don't know. That one feels. I thought looking at the line for the Packers game, especially being that was the first week with Jalen Hurts coming back. You have a Packers team that everybody dislikes, period, and they're going on the road against an Eagles team that we haven't seen fully out for a couple weeks. I thought 4.5 was a little telling, even though I still kind of thought I didn't think the Eagles were going to win, or I didn't think the Eagles were going to lose, but I thought the Packers would keep it close. Looking at that 5.5, 6 now against a Rams team that just put on a masterclass in front of the world to see, made Sam Darnold look absolutely terrible, demolished that Vikings team, who was the best NFC wildcard team in the history of the playoffs. Seems pretty enticing. I don't know if there's a more enticing looking line out of the 4 games this weekend.
Yeah. I don't know if I think it's too fat. Eagles look great too. It's definitely not short. I'll give you that. But that game, I'm not having a great read on it right off the rip. I'll certainly be on the commies. I can see myself on the Texans spread, but I don't know. That spread's up from 7.5 to 8.5. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's just Chiefs, Aldo advancing. And then Ravens, Bills. I'm blown to see the Ravens as favorites as a Bills, Super Bowl ticket holder. But we'll see how that goes as well. All right. Chat's asking, best dog I had down there. Well, I only tried the barbecue bacon dog. I'm sure you guys saw that review. If you have not already, it's up on the socials. That was a damn good hot dog. That was the best dog I've had at a football game by far. I got the King's Hawaiian buns on there, which I thought it was 4 little hot dog Sammys. I was very incorrect. It was just one Megalodon foot-long hot dog. The barbecue bacon bits, unbelievable. The cheese on top, great. It was fresh. The people were nice serving it. It was just a 10 out of 10 experience. It's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely great. I was very impressed, Jovan, by the Bucks, by their club level section. That was one of the nicer club levels I've seen at any sporting event. Yes, any stadium. That place is sweet. Bro, you walk into the club level at the Mandos games and you're like, this is the club level? This is not the normal section? You can't even tell. That was unbelievable. And the cannon going off mid-bite, you can't make it up, Kyle. You cannot make it up.
I don't know. I haven't been in many club levels outside of Ray J. So I guess I'm just spoiled because that's what I've known pretty much my entire life going to those games. But yeah, I know it's pretty nice up there.
Let's get you down Camden Yards, Jovan.
The crazy thing is we weren't even in the nice club, Krabs, because that's the away side club is significantly less built up than the home side club. The home side club has like special name, special look, special everything. So we were in the JV club.
Wow. I'm impressed. And Gootsy, Camden Yards is awesome, but let's not act like that club level is anything to write home about to mom and pop.
I mean, if you're a member, yeah. Like if you come with me, it's way better than what it looks like.
You go with Goots, yeah. I mean, you might as well be going with the mayor.
Go with the mayor of Baltimore.
That I agree with, 100%. All right, let's move. Let's groove, gents. Do we have a minute for me to bitch about something?
Of course.
You guys might want to get involved in this one as well. Gootsy, run that shit. Whatever happened to our old friend Cooper Kupp? I mean, it was only, a month or 2 ago that he was balling, getting 80 yards per game. Honestly, thought I had a chance to catch my goat well. Cooper Kupp was him during this season at times. What's going on with him? Is he hurt? Is he washed? Jovan, I mean, he was a ghost last night. I think he had 1 catch. Didn't even get anywhere close to that number. And we took the bait once again. What is wrong with Cooper Kupp?
I don't know. I don't even think it's like a him problem necessarily. I mean, it could be the fact that he's just not fully healthy, but Mikey brought up a good point. I heard he was talking about on TMA. Like they're giving Puka his routes, which is fine because you would think, I mean, they did that when he was healthy too. All the drags, all the quick screens, a lot of the slants, they kind of did that on both sides. But like now, it's not just Puka also running the short routes. It's Cooper Kupp, I don't know, just running decoy routes. And I don't say decoy in the fact that he's just not getting the ball, but his routes don't look very competitive or like he's even trying to get open. It's just kind of a setup to get the other side of the field open, which was odd. I know I've seen it for a couple weeks now. Kind of figured when the Vikings are going to send a lot of pressure that they kind of go back to their normal like route trees, but no, still like that, which was crazy.
Yeah, I was blown to see it. I don't know. It's crazy to see him going from, getting 10 targets a game with ease to nothing. Absolutely nothing. Weird.
Yeah. It's
It's
probably
just crazy. The drop off goes from 100 to 0.
I would say
Just like
pretty
that.
safe to say next week is going to be his last game in LA, at least for the Rams.
But him and Matt Stafford are best friends. They go to breakfast every day. Like it's weird to see this happening, right?
I mean, they could have gone to breakfast at the house for a week straight and even talked for the last 5 times you're at breakfast.
Yeah, just the whole thing is weird. Maybe there's something behind the scenes we don't know about.
Maybe the mucked Kelly Stafford rumors are true.
There's
That
no
would
way.
be an awkward
There's
breakfast.
no way those are true. Come on, come on. They're funny,
Could be,
but there's no way those are true. And yeah, maybe it's just Puka time, right? Maybe McVay is just like, yeah, we need to get Puka the rock 15 times per game. It's our only chance. I don't know, but it's crazy. Yeah, Shelly said, come on, Krabs. Shelly, there's no way that's true. Okay, it's funny, but no, he's not mucking his wife. Okay, they're best friends. But yeah, every time I bet on this guy, he turns into Jake Paul. Unbelievable. All right, get him off the screen, Gootsy. Hope you didn't fall for the bait last night, Goots, and take Cooper Kupp like us. Shit. Let's move on and talk about some winners for today. Oh, good. Okay. Let's move on and talk about some winners for today. Let's get into the Sharp Report and talk about our plays that we like on today's boards. I can get it started off with some college basketball wagers, and I believe it starts out in Indiana at Assembly Hall. You got the Hoosiers getting 3.5 points. This game's on Peacock tonight. They're coming off a loss. They were on fire before that loss. Indiana looking pretty good, at least at home. Still a very bettable team. Illinois, on the other hand, I mean, they were on fire just like Indiana was. They're coming off a bad L to USC that nobody expected whatsoever. They were laying like 12 points. This line, I cannot resist back in Indiana and the Hoosiers, Bayo and co, the big man who's the studs, at home at a place where they very rarely lose. I'll take the handful of points here and go about my day and fade Illinois. Maybe they do drop 2 in a row. People are thinking the other way. No way this team drops 2 games in a row, right? I'll back Coach Mike Woodson in Indiana, and I'll back Omar Bayo and the Hoosiers getting 3.5 points here at home against Illinois.
Sure. That is a big balls play. I think a lot of these are, I guess. These are some odd games, all in 2 in the Big 10, 1 in the Big 12. Looks like Martians are here, potentially. Are we back?
Jack, can we get some 10s? Can we get some 10s and some 4s? I'm hearing Twitch is bugging today. It's been back. All right, keep going. Jovan, thoughts on the Hoosiers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to you. The Hoosiers make my brain hurt, to be honest with you. Just not today, but period. Because they're very confusing. So we'll lean into you for that.
You're not wrong. What about this angle? The Trojans, speaking of the Trojans, moving from a dog to a fave overnight against Iowa. Big and bad Iowa, the Hawkeyes, who have won 4 of their last 5, covered 4 of their last 5. They're playing against the Trojans, who, like I just talked about, they just pulled off that upset against Illinois. People are thinking, no way, Musbus gets 2, right? I think he might get 2. And I think the Trojans might have their swagger back, get their mojo back here after that big-time win against Illinois. They might be feeling like they could pull off another upset here. And Vegas would tell you it's not an upset. They're favorites now, -2.5 here at home. I'll back the Trojans. I'll back Musbus against the Iowa Hawkeyes, who have been on fuego of late. They're due for a loss, more than most. And I'll back the Trojans to stay hot after a big-time upset.
Yeah, it definitely makes me nervous betting on the, I guess, same side as that Illinois-USC massive upset for multiple games. But if there's one I'm taking, it's definitely USC because they're at home. You got Iowa traveling cross-country. They're going to be really bad. I mean, if you want to chase we talked about this with Wisconsin. If you want to take Iowa's defense, which has been doing what they've been doing all year outside of part of that Wisconsin game, which was even that more odd, run teams off a 3-point line, you're running a team off a 3-point line that can't shoot. So, I mean, that plays kind of right into USC's hands. So, obviously, USC should score. They didn't have a tough time doing it against Illinois, but this game also, you shouldn't have a tough time against Iowa, especially with the 162.5 total. So, this is a good spot for their offense to stay hot, I think. Show some heart.
Show some heart. Sure. And then one more CBB play for the peeps. I'm taking Arizona. I'm laying the points against Baylor. System play. Baylor now ranked again. Baylor playing some good ball once again. They've won 4 of their last 5, but not as good a ball as Arizona's playing. After a terrible start to the season, we finally see the Wildcats back at playing at the level where they should be. And they're coming off a game that was a scare against UCF. They were winning big early on, and then they blew it. It was a close game late. They ended up pulling out the win, but it's not like they're coming in off a fat, happy, complacent spot where they won by 20 or 25. They're coming off a spot where they got scared in the second half by UCF in a game they were laying a fat number where I bet them. Thought that number was crazy. Thought they were going to cover. Looked like a freebie in the first half. They blew it. I'll back Arizona again when most people will be hopping off, laying 5.5 points against Baylor. I think this is the bet that nobody wants to take on the slate today in CBB. Who wants to lay 5.5 points with Arizona right now? Probably nobody. And Baylor, newly ranked once again. I want to fade him.
Yeah, that's the one that hurts the most, Krabs. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You like Baylor?
It's not that I don't like or that I like Baylor. Just Arizona is rat meat.
Yeah,
they've been getting. I guess they're winning against some teams they should definitely beat.
They're winning, but they're not covering. That's for sure.
Yeah, not great, but we'll see.
Yeah, scary, but has to be taken. System. The system pays more often than not. Has to be taken. Wildcats laying 5.5 against ranked Baylor. I bet. Chat hates that play. Oh, no. We got Dilgod coming in with 5 subbies. Let's go, Dilgod. Attaboy. W's. We appreciate you, my man. He says, thanks, Ruckus. Sure. Ruckus. Thank you, Dilgod, for the subbies. All right. Let's get to Jovan's plays, see what he's cooking up on the slate today for straight bets.
Start on the ice. I guess I got 2 on the ice. But VGK is minus 120 on the road against the Preds, which if this were any other team, mostly with the Preds on the other side, and I guess VGK gets their fair share of a lack of line respect too, this would be pretty odd they're this short. But I know you know this because we've talked about this a million times. The Preds get a ridiculous amount of line respect, despite how bad they are, because of the names that are on their roster. They're literally the KD, Kyrie, Harden Nets. And just last game, they were minus 150 against the Caps. Is that a little different because the Caps really never get line respect? Yes. But, I mean, they've been minus 150 at home against the Caps. They've been minus 130 at home against the Bolts, against the Oilers, and even against the Knights back then. It's the same story. Like, they get a lot of line respect. So when I looked at this line and saw that, VGK opened like minus 115. They're getting a little steam up. There's a question of if Eichel's going to play. He sat out. I think he was sick last game. There's a question of if he's going to play. Maybe a little bit of steam is kind of indicating that he will play. I don't really care because this is one of the first times that they've been playing a really good team, the Preds I'm referring to. They've been playing a really good team at home, and I'm not saying, holy shit, the Preds are getting this fat line respect. What is going on with this game? It's the other way around. So it definitely helps. VGK is coming off a little homestand. They kind of sleptwalk through. They lost the last 2 of the 3 of it. In the first 2 games, they got shut out the first game. They only scored 1 goal the second game. And then they finally beat the Wild on the last game of the homestand. But they kind of trudged their way through it and had a really good third period to kind of close it off. And a lot of the struggles on the homestand, I guess you can kind of attribute to Eichel missing the second and third game. But I wouldn't really say so. They just didn't look good in those couple games. But I'm hoping that if we do get Eichel back, that's good news. I'm willing to buy. Rare that I do that in hockey, but I'll do that with this team because they need a little offensive spark. But if not, I think they figured something out, that Wild game, especially kind of breaking down a really good defense, even though the Wild are kind of shorthanded. So I'm going to buy into that. I think they're going to get something going. They're a notoriously good road team. They've been really good on the road this year. I think that continues. And I think the line finally not being weird in the Preds game is probably telling you something.
I'm in. Sign me up. You're right. Nashville's been getting line respect all season. You think it's pretty weird that Vegas is finally getting some line respect against them today? Not like they're playing great. Sign me up. That's weird. Minus 125 now. I'll take the ML with you. What's next?
This one definitely a lot less nasty because this is I don't even know what the equivalent of it would be. It would be like a Wizards Pacers over pretty much because we're going to have 2 goalies in net in the Flyers CBJ game that are absolutely awful. I would assume on the Flyers side, you're getting Fedotov, which, I mean, he's been terrible, but on this side, there's no Elvis in net tonight. So this is what's going to happen in this game. It's going to be high pace. It's going to be high scoring. You have the Flyers who are on the second leg of a back-to-back after beating the Panthers last night. 4-3 game, super competitive, got a kind of a burst of scoring second half of that game. And then the offense is kind of just ripping on net at every chance they could get. So on the second half of back-to-back, so far this year, the Flyers, like defensively, has been like a real problem. And you can say that for like a lot of teams that their defense kind of struggles on the back end of a back-to-back. But them specifically, it's like it's not just that they're giving up goals. They're giving up really bad goals, a lot of just open chances. They're letting teams just rip on them with absurd high danger chances. So if you're CBJ, who they've actually been playing really well recently, their offense has been good. The defense has been a little better than expected, which is a shock because the last couple games they've been dealing without Sean Monahan. And Sean Monahan is, I don't know, think about a comp, but he's like your best defender on an NBA team. He's like the guy that they put people in the torture chamber with. Like he is going to be defending a team's best star every time down the ice for a majority of it. So the fact that their defense has been somewhat decent without him in it for a couple games and he's going to be gone for a couple more is pretty important. So that's kind of the angle on the other side that I want to fade going into this game because if you're the Flyers, you know your defense is struggling on back-to-back. You got Fedotov most likely going to be in net. You're going to come out super aggressive. That's what they've done all year, and especially without a pretty important part of the CBJ defense behind them, you're going to be ripping really no matter what in this game. So I think both teams come out with a little fire under them. CBJ has actually been playing some really good hockey. Like I've been saying, a lot of that's been on the offensive end. I don't think against the Flyers team on a back-to-back with that goalie situation net, much is going to change. So give me this over. Might be simple. Don't really care.
When these teams face off, the overs hit. For the last 5 times they played, the overs cashed, and by a lot, by a wide margin.
Yeah.
When these two teams play, typically a lot of goals. Let's hope that's the case tonight. I'm in. You got one more going back to CBB.
Yeah. Speaking of weird respect for a road team, kind of like VGK, and not weird respect in my head because I think Texas Tech is really good, really underrated. And they came really close over the past weekend to a crazy legacy win at home against Iowa State. Fell short because Iowa State hit a buzzer beater that took them to overtime. They eventually pulled away because Texas Tech was pretty shorthanded at that point. But now, and I don't know if you've noticed this, I guess partially you have because you have Arizona on the card. They're minus 5.5. A lot of these relatively close games in the Big 12, and Kansas State's been bad. So I guess maybe they're kind of borderline on this. But there's a lot of weird lines in the Big 12, and I feel like them out of anybody in the conference or out of all conferences, the Big 12 home teams get the most line respect out of any. A lot of that's because a lot of these teams are very closely power rated, but you see a lot of the weird lines where teams very short dogs at home or really weird favorites at home. Arizona, I guess, would fit that against Baylor today. Kansas State getting 6.5 points at home felt weird the second I saw it. And you use your basketball brain too. The thing that Texas Tech is really good at is the same thing that a lot of other teams at Texas or Kansas State have really struggled against are really good at as well. Houston, who they just played, and I love fading teams who just played Houston. They're really good at keeping you away from the rim. They're really good at using their size to overpower you. And while Texas Tech's defense is not Houston's defense, they do the same thing. They have the same principles, and they have the same type of guys, mainly like JT Toppin, who we can talk about in a little bit, that are going to bully the hell out of all the Kansas State bigs, no matter which one you put on them. So there's a size advantage, a physicality advantage, obviously, and seeing a Big 12 team, especially when you don't think it's that lopsided of a matchup, handing 6.5 on the road as a favorite looks really weird when you first see it. But I think this is a sign that Texas Tech is going to get there and get back after, I mean, really, they had no business losing that game or even seeing it go to overtime against Iowa State because they played so well throughout that in the first half and really for a majority of the second half too. They let it slip away. I don't think they're letting this one slip away. It feels like a pounding performance on the road.
I mean, I love the spot after they collapsed against Iowa State in a game they should have won. You got to back them again. That could be a reason why they're landing that fat number. Vegas is hip. They should come out angry, looking to get some revenge for that bad blown loss. God, I thought they were going to pull it off. I had them on the ML, and they blew it late.
Too.
Now's the time to take them again on the red. We got
Yeah.
Flatwoods fella coming in, giving out 5 subbies for the peeps. Let's go,
Flatwood.
Flatwoods. Atta boy. Sure we can. First time chatter coming in. Nether burgers, fuck crabs. Atta boy. Sure. Nice. W Flatwoods coming in. We appreciate you, Beast, and Dilgod as well. The 2 guys coming in, giving out 5 subbies to the community. Love to see it. Love to see it. Yeah, guys, real quick, we did just release our new hats up on the website. If you want to get a new Bookit scripted hat, now is the time. All right, buy them now before they sell out. Get involved. A couple different colorways. Check out the link now. It is in the Twitch chat. W Goots. Let me click on that link and check it out. Ooh, we got 5 different colorways. These are fresh as heck. We got the blue script, the green, which I think is probably my fave, the orange. Looks like Tennessee colors a little bit. We got the reds, fresh, and the simple black with the white backgrounds. 5 colors you can choose from. Get those hats before they sell out. People forget the hats sold out in like a week last time. So get them now before you forget. Get them now before they are off the site. Dubs. All right. W Gootsy with the reminder. All right. Let's go to some prize pick squares. Let's talk about some squares real quick. St. Thomas, not the island. I'm talking about the player. He transferred in from, I think, Loyola Chicago, and then he went to Northern Colorado for a year where he balled, and then he got his ticket, his NIL deal to go to the Trojans, get paid this year a little bit. He has not been, a heavy scorer for this team. He's averaging less than 10 points per game, but I think he'll be more involved, Jovan, today in a game where I'm liking the over, a game where I'm liking points, and a game where I'm certainly liking the Trojans. There should be plenty of points in this one. We know Iowa doesn't play like a defense. And if you look at the bigs on Iowa, not that, St. Thomas is the biggest forward, but the 2 bigs on Iowa, I'm not too worried about. Sanford and Freeman. These guys are, not the strongest and toughest of guys in the paint. So while they get out in transition, the Trojans will. I would not be shocked if we see St. Thomas getting more involved in the paint in this one against some of the softer bigs on the Hawkeyes in a game where I'm loving points. And the Trojans, I think St. Thomas gets more involved on the offensive side of the ball today. And I'm taking his more than 11.5 points. Kind of a high number as well. Read it out charts. I think he gets involved heavily in the offense today.
Sure. No problem with that.
And then going back to Zurich Phelps. Look, if A&M is still without their star, right, Wade Taylor, if he's going to be out once again in this game, I'm going to keep betting Zurich Phelps, right? If you look at, what he's done since Wade Taylor's gone out, Jovan, I mean, he's taken over for him in that spot. He's been a rebounding machine, which is kind of crazy as well. But if you look at his stats, once Wade Taylor went down, he's been a rebounding beast. He's averaging like 7 rebounds per game in that span too. I'm taking his PRA. I'm taking the whole shebang. He's got a sketchy assist square up there as well. And I do think he goes more than that 20 points on Prize Picks 2 today. He's really the main factor of this offense now that we have no Wade Taylor. And I think once again today he gets his shots up. I would not be shocked if he cashes that weird more than assist square. And then the rebounds, which is now a goblin square on Prize Picks, has been green as heck the last 2 weeks. I think he cashes that once again. I'll take his PRA today. I think he's the centerfold of the team with no Wade Taylor.
Sure. I'm down for that. And I don't want to let this get swept because this was in Surge Stream chat yesterday. I don't know if this is the guy, but the guy who's saying Highsmith still barbecue chicken, whoever that is, whether that's you or anybody else, that was legitimately one of the most absurd things I have ever heard on Surge Stream, period. Which I don't know if you're hip, Krabs, but Highsmith is, one of the better defenders in the NBA, but that's all he does. And came on and said, nobody defends on the Heat. They just have Highsmith, who doesn't defend. And he is. It's literally Pat Bev, just in wing form. It's crazy. That was insane. And I think Kawhi didn't hit a single 3, which I'm pretty sure was the play because of that.
Okay. Then why is he coming in chat talking his shit again? He's saying
I
that
don't know.
Highsmith still barbecue chicken.
I don't know. It's crazy.
Oh, man. So funny. Shout out Hero Day on Friday. Did he
Hero
go
Day.
off?
Yeah, he did against the Blazers, which is,
Mm.
I mean, not exactly something to write home about, but he splooged, which was huge.
Mm. All right. Let's go to your prize pick squares. Let's see what you're crafting up today, Jovan. JT Toppin.
Have to take JT Toppin today, especially
Ooh.
because, I mean, not that he had like a really bad game against Iowa State, but when push came to shove in all of the crucial moments, frankly, it was some of his defense that was letting them back in the game, especially with some of the bigger shots towards the end of regulation and into overtime as well. So I think he's going to be pretty fired up to have a good performance. But one of the reasons I think Texas Tech is laying this massive number on the road, or what I think is pretty massive on the road against Kansas State, is because they're so undersized. Kansas State is not physical. They can't handle with really any big men. And this came true in both non-conference and the start of Big 12 play. They just get dominated at the rim. They get dominated on the boards. If Texas Tech is going to have a really good performance, I don't think they're going to go out and just outshoot Kansas State on the road because, A, that's not really what they're built for. B, that's not how Kansas State gets beat. They get beat at the rim. They get beat with physicality. They get beat on the boards. JT Toppin does all of that for this Texas Tech team, and I think he is the key to them winning this game, period, but especially winning this game by potentially double digits. So I think it all goes through him today as a reason why really anybody who's played Kansas State is coming away with career numbers or season high numbers on every single thing. I saw with Ernest Uday, and TCU scored, I think, 63 points in that win that they had no business winning when Kansas State went to Fort Worth and played them. That was the best big men play TCU has had all of the Big 12 conference season. And it's not just because Kansas State is Kansas State compared to BYU, Houston, all the other teams TCU have played. It's the matchup is ripe. So we're going to it. Then Yabu threes, Krabs. Has to be taken. Double big, which we love. Juice to the over, which we love. But the matchup, again, I'm not just going to blindly take double bagels or tell you to blindly take double bagels just because they're double bagels. I've let plenty of them kind of slip. When the matchup makes sense, I'm going to go to it. Sixers are playing the Thunder today, which the Thunder, a lot of these double bagels are up for, a matchup reason. That tends to be the situation. And the Thunder, the reason why their defense is so good is because they're so good against the pick and roll. Tyrese Maxey is going to be running a lot of that today. What that does, which is something we've targeted for a lot of the season, spot up shooters grub against the Thunder, especially like if you see any popular Twitter PODs, which Mikal Bridges, I think, was last time he played the Thunder. Bad example, but he did shoot like 7 threes. I don't think he had a single one, but he played them twice, I think, in a week. The week before that game Trent was at, he absolutely splooged. But the point being, spot up shooters, especially when they're in the corner, feast against the Thunder because those are the ones that you get. Those are the looks that they allow you to have. Yabu, not only, he's not a high volume 3-point shooter, but a lot of his volume does come from the corner. This is perfect for a lot of the spot up shooters. So if there's a situation to take one of these shooters, whether it's him, whether it's PG, whether it's a couple of the guys for the Sixers, it's this game. Even though there's probably not going to be a billion points, it's still a tough Thunder defense, but this is what they'll allow you to have. So that's what I'm going to take.
Nasty square.
It's really gross.
Nasty square. Sign me up. I already locked in the Sharp Report 4-man. I dropped the link in the Twitch chat as well. If you guys saw that, you can click it. And tail if you want to get involved. All right. JT Toppin's on a nasty square. He's a good.
Yeah, JT Toppin's super goat, pretty much.
Yep. Looks like Brian tailed in chat. Let's go, Brian. Sure we can. All right. Let's move. Let's groove. We got a lot to talk about today. Mainly a TNT 2-piece that we got to craft up. Jovan, maybe we go to that now.
Sure.
And yes, chat, we are hip. The MLB SZN Squares are starting to go up. We could take a peep at some of those categories as well if we have time. But why don't we get to the TNT 2-piece and talk about these 2 games going on tonight on TNT and see if we can craft up another prize picks lineup that cashes. Okay, we've been pretty good at these so far. Knock on wood. Let's see if we can cash another one tonight, Jovan. We've got Cavs and Pacers and Nuggets and Mavs. All right, we can start with that first game. Let's look at the game before we dive into prize picks. How do you think this one plays out? Looks like Cleveland's laying 8.5, up from 5.5, and that total has moved up a good chunk as well, up from 227 to 232. Are we getting points in this game?
I think we are. And
Ooh.
I probably am going to end up playing the over because the interesting thing, I think we talked about this. We have more chances for this last year than we have this year. I believe Halliburton is not playing. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I believe he's not playing. And if that's the case, which I'm pretty sure it is, he just played in that last game where defenses absolutely shined. And I think that total was even higher than it was in this game.
Yep.
And it soared under. I don't even know if they cracked 200. If they did, they barely did. So yeah, Hallie is probably not playing, and the Cavs blew that game, lost by 15, had an atrocious performance, and now we're seeing the total open up lower as expected, but then climbing up. So I remember we did this quite a few times for squad rides last year, taking these over. So I think there's going to be points. We just got to figure out from who.
Huh. I like that start. Let's look at the board here a little bit. Let's start with the Cavs. And yeah, I am seeing Halliburton's unlikely to play today. Let's start with the Cavaliers. Chat, now's the time to drop some weird squares. They're looking at you funny in this game as well. If you guys got plays you like, prize pick squares you like in Cavs Pacers, drop them. Get involved. All right. Karis LeVert. People forget about him. He's got an 8.5 point square up.
Well, I'll give you the lay of the land first, Krabs, looking at everything that happened in this first matchup. So basically, I guess Halliburton got hurt like halfway through the game, which is why, but Siakam had a pretty good day, a lot of volume, took 21 shots. Andrew Nembhard came in and kind of filled the Halliburton role and was him for a while. Jarris Walker and Obi Toppin also came in and had decent roles. Jarris Walker was literally Shaq on the boards. On the Cavs side, it was pretty spread. Both the point guards took a lot of shots, a lot of threes as well. And Evan Mobley feasted on the boards. They did a pretty good job at containing Jared Allen. So it could be a couple different ones. Karis LeVert did absolutely nothing.
I like that 8.5 points for Karis LeVert square that's up for the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell threes, probably a little bit too square for me, but definitely a little reds for D-Mitch. They got Georges Niang up. We're not taking him.
Yeah, shot 1 for 4 from 3 with 7 points in that game.
Okay. No need to take him. What about your guy, Max Strus?
Strus is loose. He also kind of did the same thing. 1 for 6 or 1 for 5 from 3. That was his only bucket of the game.
What do we think, chat? Everybody loves Donovan today. Yeah, I'm out. Adam, good point.
Yeah. I mean, usually the top option against the Pacers is really popular, no matter if the matchup actually makes sense or it doesn't. Maybe we take a look at the Pacers, Krabs, because that's where it can get a little weirder finding somebody to take advantage of Halliburton potentially not playing.
Keep that Karis LeVert, though, back pocket.
I do want to keep that Karis back pocket 100%.
All right. Let's look at some Pacers. They got the GOAT Ben Shepherd up here and moving. 7.5 points.
Ben Shepherd looks interesting, Krabs. Sneakily.
Ben Shepherd is an interesting option. Fade Benedict Mathurin, take his less than threes, but probably don't want to take a less than in this game.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to take a less than in this game, at least on the Pacers side, because everybody you'd think is going to get some kind of bump without Halliburton, or at least the guys they're offering.
Could take JT Toppin's brother, Obi Toppin.
Wow.
People forget he's on the Pacers.
Could be the JT Obi two-piece.
That might be too crazy. You see that Pascal Siakam 3-pointers made square?
I do see that. 0 for 5. 0 for 5 in that game.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. TJ McConnell. Go check out some of his squares.
Yeah, well, his squares make sense because he's the point guard now.
He's filling in.
Yeah.
All right, here's what I'm thinking. Shepard. Siakam threes. Or Karis LeVert points. Any of those tickling your fancy?
I mean, one of those 2 points, I think, are tickling Jim, whether it's Karis or whether it's Shepard. Siakam threes is gross, and I still don't hate it, but it feels like gut wants to go with those points.
Shepard good for 1-3 always. We might need 2 today. Let's go Ben Shepard, bro. He's a beast.
Ben.
And then let's look at the late night TNT game. Nuggets versus Mavs. Let's take a peep at that spreads. Looks like the Nuggets are laying 3.5 points. They were laying 5.5. Now they're laying 3.5. Could there be some injury news for the Mavericks, maybe?
I mean, I don't
Kyrie
know if it was
Irving.
new relative to the spread, but yeah, I think Kyrie is not playing.
He's been upgraded to questionable.
Yeah.
After practicing on Monday. So, yeah, he might play, and that's probably why that spread moved a couple points, right?
Right.
Okay. Jokic is playing. Jamal Murray's playing. God, both these teams are banged up heavily.
Super banged up. And they just like the other game, they just played too. And the Nuggets, without Kyrie, I mean, the Nuggets beat them by 10, but the game was pretty close all the way through. So I do have some ideas here, Krabs, some stronger ideas.
Let's hear them.
I don't know. I kind of want to just make it simple and take Kyrie to be a point guard in this game. Take his assist or take his RA. Because in that game that was a couple days ago where Dinwiddie was the point guard, I mean, he had 9 assists. And it's kind of been a thing. Like, you'll see it on Twitter all the time. Anytime anybody's playing the Nuggets, assists are very popular because I think they still rank top of the league in terms of assists given up to point guards. Kyrie's coming back. When he has come back in a lot of these games, it's not like they're managing him. They're kind of waiting until he's fully healthy to break him out. So I would assume today on national television, there's not going to be any minutes restriction bullshit. So if you got to do it, especially when, I guess if you're talking rebounds part of it too, I know the square doesn't really look too enticing to you, but if you're looking at some Nuggets, especially with like how dominant the Nuggets were on the boards in that first game, Jokic had 18, Westbrook had 10. They obviously were both asking triple-double questions for a while. Anybody who plays the Nuggets, like, look at the box scores. All the rebounds are pretty spread out, 1 through the 5. Everybody's kind of getting in on the action because you got to put a body on somebody and get them. So Kyrie, I would assume, is going to be pretty involved there too. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to make it too complicated, especially when he's going to have one of the tougher matchups on the floor too, as far as scoring.
I like his JD5 assists. It's up on the board. It's very rad.
No way we just snuck JD5 in there.
Yeah, his JD5 assists.
Unbelievable.
I like his more than JD5 assists.
Yeah, I could be down for that, obviously.
You want to bet him to be a point guard tonight?
I want to take Uncle Drew to be Uncle Drew.
All right, let's go through the rest of the Mavs, make sure there's nothing weirder. But I could certainly back a Reddit out Kyrie Irving chart.
Yeah, which again, that one makes sense too, because it's an injury-related chart, but still.
No Klay Thompson love today?
I mean, somebody's getting the assist from Kyrie, but he just had a legacy game against them a game ago.
Yeah, not loving the Mavs that are up and not many that are up at this point. Let's go look at the Nuggets because they do have Christian Brown, who I love taking squares for. I love watching him play basketball. So when I at least look through his squares, he's a stud.
Goated.
Nothing jumping off page there today for him.
No.
Stay off of taking his squares. Every time we take Jamal Murray, we lose coins, so we can probably just move on from him.
Yep.
Surprised no Michael Porter shout-outs. They're typically every single time.
If there's anybody that I would like to get involved from the Nuggets side, it's 100% Michael Porter. I mean,
it's just every time. Whether the chart could be green, Jovan will twist it into that being the play today. It could be read it out as Ma. He comes in saying, well, he's due. It's just Michael Porter every time.
Pretty much. I mean, he is coming off of a 1-for-8 shooting performance against them 2 days ago.
Here he goes.
And there's a 2.5 3-point chart up there, Krabs.
The problem, though, is, John, that they never hit for Michael Porter. That's the problem.
No, lately he's been hitting. He has been, the last couple weeks, minus, I guess, the last couple games, he's been kind of iffy. But before that, he was on a stretch where he was hot as ma, dude.
Yeah, I'm out. We're not taking him. I'm out.
I still think it's Kyrie, though. But for what it's worth, will I have coin on Michael Porter or something? Yeah, 100%.
Every day, every game. No Jokic threes after some interesting performances.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but with as much as they dominated the paint against the Mavs last game, I don't know that would be my favorite angle.
Okay, here's another angle. Fading Russ. Look at his squares today. Russell Westbrook squares are all extremely green. Extremely green.
Yeah. Very popular on Pop Tab too.
Extremely popular. His rebounds are crazy. He's got multiple different. They put defensive rebounds and offensive rebound squares up for him. They want people taking his rebounds today, and he's probably not getting them. I hate taking Russell less thans, especially for effort squares like rebounds, but that makes me want to fade Russell Westbrook tonight. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't tell you no. I do feel a lot better about Kyrie than that.
Okay. Then we'll keep Kyrie in this puppy. Any qualms with Ben Shepherd more than 7.5 points and Kyrie Irving more than 5 assists, chat? Any qualms with those two squares? Let me know. Russ was Pippen last game. Turn back the clock 30 years. Yeah, his squares look like he's been Pippen the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's been goated. Literally during that Mavs game, it was all him and Jokic just back cutting back and forth. They were grubbing. It's a 2-man game.
I'm kind of down for that 2-man. Seems green, Billy said. Hey, Matt said so many qualms. Oh, no. Well, it's too late. It's getting locked. Boom. Ben Shepherd more than 7.5 points. Kyrie Irving more than 5 assists. You guys want the link to that puppy? Happy to drop it. I got it right here. I'll drop it in the Twitch chat if you guys want it. Okay. I'm seeing people dropping squares they like. Look at D'Angelo Russell threes. I've seen a couple people talking about it.
Yeah. It's still red like it's been for the last 2 weeks.
Bruh.
Could
we
be
gotta
the
take
day,
that
though.
with something.
Yeah. I mean, that's a similar thing to like Hero against the Blazers. I mean, the matchup is pretty much the same. And I think Hero had like 7 threes. Granted, he's not D'Angelo Russell, but same principle of the matchup.
Hear me out. Starting a lineup with D'Angelo Russell more than 2.5 3-pointers made and Russell Westbrook less than rebounds.
That I could be in on.
Do you like the over or the under in this Dallas game tonight?
I mean, I would lean the over, but I think I feel better about the over in the first game rather than the second game. I don't know if I can get myself to be talked into 2 straight nationally televised overs on TNT.
Yep. I'm looking at a Russell two-piece right now.
Wow.
And it's just, it's screaming at me for 2 more legs. They don't even have to be NBA. They could be any sport, anything. Anything. Gucci POD today. We got a Goots POD on Prize Picks. Get up here, Gootsy.
Wow.
Get up here, Gootsy.
Wow.
Here comes Gunnar Henderson. More than fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
Here
you're
it
gonna love
comes.
this one.
Here it is.
You
Ready?
scroll over to the MLB season tab.
Yep.
Oh my God, here we go.
Here it comes.
Get a
Here we
home
go.
runs. Go ahead and click the more than on the best shortstop in the league. Lock that up.
And what do you know? It's Gunnar Henderson, folks.
Yep.
Get
there
off
it
the
is.
screen.
Who would have thought?
Get it off the screen, dude.
And then you pair it
Done.
over here. Get an NFL. Type in Lamar.
Here we go.
And you take the pass yards. There we go.
I'm so incredibly sure.
Gates.
So
Now
incredibly sure.
That's a 4-piece right there.
Gates.
Just done. Just done with Goots. I'm just so done with Goots. It's unbelievable.
Anybody got squares we can actually take for today?
I have an idea. Because you know who else is coming back from an injury? Just like Kyrie. The guy who delivers us TikTok hype videos and gives us a highlight play every single time he comes back before he sits out for 6 more weeks. You got Zion playing against the Bulls today.
Zion?
Which, I mean, he can absolutely bully, anybody he plays, but especially the Bulls, who are so soft at the rim. Unbelievably soft at the rim. So I want to take his PRA.
Do you?
I do.
That total is high as ma. After some gummies.
It's Bulls Pelicans.
I'm in. Zion more than PRA.
Yeah.
I need another nasty square from chat. That's what I need. Oh, we got some goals allowed squares. Don't mind if I do.
Wow. Some new
Hogberg.
goals allowed squares.
Go look at that Hogberg goals allowed square. It's definitely not how you say his name, but go look at Hogberg.
Hoiberg.
Go look at Hogberg.
I mean, yeah. It's a shit goalie.
Do we like points in that Ottawa game?
I mean, it's really hard to ever say you like goals, and maybe not an Ottawa game, but an Islanders game. Totals at 5.5. The Islanders are under machines. The
Ottawa moved from
Senators,
plus 130 to plus 100, Jovan. This is smacking. Ottawa's winning this game.
yeah. I mean, they're coming off a couple really good games. I know they beat the shit out of the Penguins. Then they just beat the Stars.
Yeah.
Let's see which one of these looks the most weird. Bennington's up there against the Flames. The Flames are on a back-to-back. Vejmelka just had a legacy performance. They have him up against the Habs.
Fox over 1.5 steals and blocks. That might be too nasty, Miguel, but I like where your head's at. Hartenstein less than rebounds. Damn, I'm blown. You don't like that Hogberg square, man.
It's not that I don't like it necessarily. It's just
you hate it.
He is like a really bad goalie.
Right.
So it's I'm trying to tell you that it's not like taking.
It's not that.
It's
nasty.
not like you're taking.
It's not that
Vassy.
weird.
Yeah, it's not that weird.
Okay. Yeah. Hartenstein less than rebounds from our guy Matt. Well, I'm only seeing 13.5 demon rebounds for him, so that might be cake. That might be cake, Matt. You can't even take the less than if you wanted to for his rebounds. Look at some squares. I got to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Sure.
Look at some squares to round out this 4-man. We got 3 squares that I'm loving so far, though. Okay.
It could always be. Ooh, I wonder if Krabs would have the heart for this one. CBB gets the 3-point category. His guy is up there after a Curry performance. Rain Smith. Wow, Sean Padula's back up too. That could be the one. But Rain Smith is up there after 7 threes. He was literally scorched earth in that game over the weekend. Unbelievable shooting performance. Lights out. Now he's up for 3.5 against Syracuse, which I guess it kind of makes sense that if you have Syracuse and you have Eddie Lampkin in the paint, you don't really need to shoot over the top of all the guards because he is a traffic cone down there in the restricted area. So you get him on the move with the PNR, and he's literal cookie butter. All of Twitter loves Syracuse today, too, plus the points. Could always just be Louisville dominating on the inside. That could definitely be it. Brian T just bought a green bucket hat. Let's go. Shout out to GOAT. BJ Freeman Squares with no Shannon. Absolutely. W linkage in chat.
BJ Freeman's a moose shit. Don't take any of that.
A little bit shit. So is UCF. Rain Smith fades Krabs. Could you be convinced?
I don't know if I can get there with Rain Smith fades. No. No.
It's soft.
I do not think I can get there with fading the goats. No.
So soft out of you.
But I would definitely like to look at that category. They got Padula up.
They do have Padula up. The only other time he's been on this chart or been on this square recently is that one game we took him and he has the one green bar on that chart.
Like the over in that game.
Yeah.
Is he going to have Mark Sears covering him, bro? He can't cover a parked car.
Yeah, probably.
Dude, we got to take that square.
I wouldn't have an issue with that. I guess he could be on Trey Davis too. I don't know. Padula.
Sean Padula. More than 1.5 threes. A couple shout outs from JJ Miles in chat. Walter Clayton. Keep taking him and keep losing money. So I don't know if I want to take him again, but
yeah,
we can certainly look. He's up for 16.5 once again against Mizzou today.
Yeah, I mean, he should get that against Mizzou, but I don't know. It's not even like that he's just been bad or missing shots. Like his shot selection is unbelievable sometimes to the point of like he got benched in the game on Saturday for a little bit. Like after I think 2 or 3 minutes in the first half, he took some absurd shots and Golden sent him to the bench for a while before he came back and looked a little better, but it was still really confusing.
Smokey and Chad, I cannot take Bayo less thans with an Indiana ticket in my pocket today. I just cannot do it. Cannot do that. Shit, man.
See that chart?
Pull that up again. Against Miami, bro.
Yeah.
He should get whatever he wants.
Yeah, you would think. Is he up for threes?
I kind of like that Padula look. I'm not going to lie to you. I love points in that game.
It's a green machine over here, Concanopal.
The Rant points chart's wild too, chat saying. Still Durant, though, folks.
Yeah, that's
Still
another
Durant.
one of those that's been weird for a week now.
I think we stick with this 4-man right here. D-Russ more than threes, Russ less than rebounds. Zion more than PRA, Padula more than 1.5 threes. That's a 4-man that's getting to the counter. Whether it cashes or not, it's going to be close. I'm locking it. I'm locking it right now as we speak. You guys want the link?
Need linkage.
Okay. Let me drop the link in the chat real quick. We got 2 Russells in here. Surely that goes well. I will drop the link in the private chat too for Jovan.
Yeah, need that.
Okay. It's in there. Let's go. All right, chat. What else do you want to talk about? We can go over the rest of the college basketball slate today. Ooh, you want to touch on the MLB Squares?
Take a peep.
All right. And yeah, the TNT 2-piece. if you want to get that involved as well. We did lock that in. That's Ben Shepherd, more than 7.5 points. And that's Kyrie Irving, more than 5 assists. I will drop the link to that one more time here as well. Jovan, I'll go ahead and give you the floor. Talk about some of these MLB categories that are up. Do we have 10% of the categories up? You're expecting 20%? Is it only the GOATs? What's up right now? What do they put up to get the ball rolling?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do categories-wise because that's changed over the last couple of years. I know last year they didn't offer as many categories as we expected, but the squares that are up right now at the very least are just a majority of the GOATs. So from now until probably the start of March or the start of spring training-ish, you're probably going to get the board filled out a good bit. So now they started teasing us a little bit, giving us some of the GOATs on the board. So I'm excited. I'm in Florida, so I haven't been able to see the board. So this is outside of what I saw from Goots, my first look at it as well.
Wow. Yeah, I'm only seeing strikeouts and home runs up, but you know what? For now, that just might work. That might be just good enough for now. Give the people something, right? Any squares that are up here that you're immediately, targeting or at least looking at or surprised to see them up? I know you're saying this is the first time you're looking at them, so we'll give you a second. But, you got Blake Snell up there, the GOAT. You got some guys like Kikuchi up there for the Angels.
Yeah.
Paul Skeens, Scooball, Reagans. The young GOATs are all up there. Corbin Burns is up. Goots, you can spite fade.
I mean, yeah, I can tell that pretty much I guess the popular Go Well squares are all the ones that are already up. So I can tell you, usually the ones that are highest lines and on the top of the board are always going to be the most popular ones. Skeens is going to be in everybody's Go Well. Judge is super high, obviously taxed from last year that he also stayed completely healthy for the most part in doing at that 51.5. So, those two lines are getting taxed pretty heavy, Krabs. You might have to run it back.
Damn. Am I hearing your guy Hunter Green's up there? Somebody in chat said he was, but I'm not seeing him.
He's up. He's got strikeouts.
Yep.
And I'm already kind of, predisposed to kind of wanting to fade him. That line, I assumed we were going to get it a little higher just because, he's coming off of a near Cy Young finalist season, and he got, I think, 170 strikeouts last year, and that line is below that, and he stayed perfectly healthy last year outside of a couple weeks. It's not making me feel any less confident about potentially fading him, I'll tell you that much. Especially because, that's the one area I would not think for a second about fading Hunter Green is in the strikeout category. So the fact that that's even lower is, I would say, a little alarming.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Looking at some of these home run squares.
Yeah, mostly just GOATs on here now. Couple,
Aaron Judge, 51.5 is crazy.
I'll tell you the line. I already told you this, but the line that I think stands out the most just from the actual number, I would say, and again, I was already kind of predisposed to maybe buying into this guy for the GOAT whale for a bounce back year. J-Rod, it's 27.5, I believe, is
29.5.
29.5. Sorry. Very interesting. Or no, it is 27.5. Unless. Oh, J-Rod. Yeah,
Okay,
J-Rod.
Okay. Yep. J-Rod. Sure.
Yeah, that's high. If he had
Bounce
20
back
last
season.
year, and I expect him to be much, much better. Obviously tough to back any hitter when they play half their season in Seattle, but
yeah, but I love
seeing
angle.
Seeing that line looks pretty telling, I would say.
What about Brent Rooker up there after getting paid? They've got him stuck at the bottom of the boards.
Yeah. He got paid and he's playing
34.5 nukes.
Playing in Sacramento. Taxing you pretty heavy for that one too, but could never say no to Brent Rooker.
That's a high ass square. Thoughts on Jordan, 35.5 home runs?
He might hit 40 first half after last year. If you want to play Devers and Jordan are probably green before the All-Star game. Shout out Trent.
Yep. Damn, they got Luis Hill up there. Can his arm hold on for another full season? I don't know. That could be a good look for a less than. Max Fried on his new team up there for 155.5 strikeouts. Interesting. Any of these squares sticking out to you guys in chat? You guys surprised to see some of these guys at numbers where they're at? They got Juan Soto up there. Sure they do. For his home run square, right? They've got him up for 34.5 nukes. How many he hit last year?
I think he had like high 30s, maybe. Could be tripping.
41.
Low 40s, close.
Jesus. That's crazy.
What are your thoughts on fading Kyle Tucker in that ballpark in Chicago? 30.5 home runs.
I wouldn't hate it.
Stands out.
Wouldn't have anything against it. I don't know. If I want to take anything on the Cubs, it's got to be. I'd rather take Paredes.
Yeah.
That's the one that I guess makes the most sense because the park he plays in, Pole Merchant, shortest part of the field, obviously. But yeah, it's a tough one. Everything with the Cubs is really tough. Mike Trout year. Dude, if that guy can stay fully healthy, that can turn into a skewball square from last year. Because I guess that was the issue with skewball, or at least the issue why Trent didn't want to put pitchers in this go well period, because you're betting on health, which is the scariest part.
Yeah.
It's triple that with Trout. But, if he stays healthy for 3/4 of the season, which obviously is still a massive if, that he's hitting 30.
Any thoughts on Zach Gallen, who's up there on the board for strikeouts?
I got my fade out. It was all business. We did that for.
And you move?
Yeah, we moved from that.
Okay. Yep. All right. Chad, any other questions, comments, concerns about some of these MLB squares up on the boards? Cannot wait for them to put up some more categories here as we get closer to the season. Only got 2 categories up right now, and I'm sure there's more players to come. But yeah, good to touch on this a little bit now that they're up today, and we can move before we get locked into talking about baseball the rest of the show.
Sure.
All right. Let's go look at some CBB, Jovan. Let's go look at some college basketball action. Some really good games today that we have not mentioned yet. Texas A&M and Kentucky. I mentioned no Wade Taylor. That spread's hanging around 6.5 on the road against a Kentucky team that has had some ups and downs so far this season, but they're coming off a big win. They've won 3 of their last 4. It's actually the Aggies who are coming in off a loss to Alabama in a hard-fought game. They didn't cover, but they kept it within 6 points, and they put up 88 points themselves. This team can score a little bit more than I expected. Jovan, you think A&M covers that number, or do you think that over is a decent look at least at 157.5?
It's a tough one because I guess what Texas A&M does do, no matter what Kentucky team they're playing, for the last couple of times they've played, they score with them. So they're not scared, even though there have been games where they're shorthanded. You really don't want to get into a shootout with Kentucky, but they've done it multiple times in a row and they've won doing it. So they're very, very open to playing like that. Thing is, without Wade Taylor, you would think, I know Zurich Phelps is kind of a good point guard that plays his own way and can push the tempo himself, but you'd think they probably would not want to play nearly as fast as they did those couple games that ended up in the 90s. So I don't know that I love that over. Maybe, it's a simple angle, I guess, for it to go over, I guess, and I wouldn't bet against it, but it's hard to bet against A&M, period, because you always know they're capable of slowing down and playing half court with any team.
All right, maybe we stay off that game then. What about Mississippi State and Auburn? No Janai Broom tonight, Jovan. Maybe that's why the spread's down to 7.5 for Mississippi State, a team that people think are really, really good. They play some defense, but they're coming off a loss to Kentucky where they put up 90 points themselves and only lost by 5. Do you think they're a look on the spread here, or do you think that's buying too much bad news and fading Auburn without Janai Broom?
It's probably a little too much buy good news for me, only because I honestly would think about buying the good news here and taking Mississippi State, even though they're on the road in the jungle, if this was like Tolu Smith Mississippi State, but it's not. It's Josh Hubbard, Mississippi State, where the guard play is the most important thing on the court. So like that, especially from like a defensive standpoint for Auburn, nothing's really going to change with Janai Broome. It's going to be a little easier at the rim, sure, but on the road in the jungle, getting 7.5 points with the Naismith player out still feels like a lot too easy of a bet for me to take.
Yeah.
They had guys step up in that Texas game when he got out. So,
I mean, they were killing Texas, beating the hell out of them until Janai Broome got hurt. So I mean, guys stepped up, but they didn't really do too well.
Yeah. I cancel out that fat line with it being number 1 ranked Auburn. Still in the back of my mind.
Yeah. In the jungle too. It's probably, I would argue, the best home environment, the biggest home court advantage in all of college basketball. I would say.
It's up there. It's certainly up there. I'm with you. It's probably, those two sides probably cancel out. All right.
Yeah.
Ole Miss Bama. Spreads up to 12. You think Ole Miss hangs around? After a loss a week or so ago, they've ripped off 3 straight wins. Do you think Ole Miss lurks around in this game, Jovan? Or do you think Bama rolls and they're catching some steam as well up to -12?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, Bama hasn't not covered a game in a few weeks. So, I mean, I'm not probably going to go around and bet on Bama, but I think it's belt to ass. Again, I've been very anti-Ole Miss for the entirety of the season. So, I mean, I've picked out a couple of spots where it worked out pretty well, but I mean, I just don't think they're that good of a team. I don't think they're good defensively either. They play slow offensively. So, like, they kind of shorten the game. They try to do what you can, but I think Bama is a really bad matchup to try and do that against because you really can't slow down Bama. So, it's not going to work. I don't know who's going to guard Mark Sears for Ole Miss because they try to throw a bunch of different bodies on all the point guards. Sean Padula, respectfully, is not been guarding anybody. He can't guard a point guard.
He doesn't play defense.
Yeah, he doesn't play a lick of defense. So Mark Sears, for whatever time he's on him, he's going to be able to get to the rim at ease. So, like, if you're playing like that against Bama, good luck. You're going to get blown out of the water.
Yeah, that's probably why that spread's inching up to -12. Crazy. I like the over. I like points in this game. Total's up to 163.5. I'd say the over is probably what I would take in that game.
Sure.
Anything in Marquette DePaul?
Nah, I can't do it.
Okay. All right. Georgetown, St. John's. Georgetown coming off of 2 losses after playing really good ball all season. Could they be worth a look?
It could be worth a look, Krabs. Could certainly be
10.5
worth
to
a look.
9.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, St. John's, the last couple of games against Xavier and Villanova, I think, was this past weekend. I mean, they were clicking on all cylinders. Defensively, actually looked pretty good when it mattered, too. So, like, Georgetown, I think, can kind of match that. They like to go fast, but they've got a couple of damn good on-ball defenders, including Peavy, which is a real asset to stop teams that want to run. So, I think it could be close.
Jovan Chelly just sent me a bet slip of his largest wager on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Thoughts from the Bookit account and chat?
I don't know. Good luck.
You don't love that today?
I mean, not really. They're in Boston after they just, I don't want to say beat the hell out of them, but they handled them pretty easily in Tampa a couple days ago. It's like now they're going on the road, secretly a little banged up too. I mean, I don't know that I'm in love with it, but I mean, I'm not taking the Bruins, so be rooting for it.
What about Arkansas LSU? Arkansas favorites on the road here, Jovan, against the Tigers. Both teams coming in off of 3 straight L's.
I mean, I'm surprised you had not much to say about this game, Krabs.
Why is that?
This is just a disgusting game. I feel like this is such a game you would get involved in one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I lean Coach Cal, but I don't know if I want to take Coach Cal because he gets respect for no reason.
I mean, it's gross. It's actually gross. I don't even know what I want to do in this game. Both these teams have been sharp for 2 weeks straight, and they're facing each other. So it's like, what side do you want to pick here? I probably would lean LSU, but I don't know if I can get there.
Thoughts on Ohio State, Wisconsin? Buckeyes are
Yeah.
getting 6.5 points on the roads at Wisconsin, who's on fuego and ranked once again.
Yeah, I mean, everything almost lines up too well for this game, which is concerning because, I mean, I look at it like last time the last couple of games, Wisconsin has been at home. They have had incredible shooting performances. I mean, even the last game against Minnesota, they were great. Obviously, the game against Iowa, they were absolutely fantastic and set a Big Ten record. So now you get Ohio State, who's, I guess you can say, kind of limping in here. Like even in their win, the OT win against Minnesota, they didn't look very good doing it. They lost that game late against Oregon somehow, some way. So like now you're going to Wisconsin. It seems like one of those games where nobody's going to want Ohio State, and it's going to end up, for whatever reason, being Ohio State.
Yeah, I think it's the Buckeyes here. I can't do it then, man. I'm out. I
can't.
Nope. A couple other late night games before we get to the squad right here. Clemson, Georgia Tech. Clemson opened up relatively fat favorites. They were laying 6.5, but now they're back to minus 5-point favorites against Georgia Tech coming off of 2 losses. I could see this being a weird ACC close muckfest with Georgia Tech keeping this one within the number. I kind of lean them plus 5 against Clemson.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that at all. Clemson's kind of struggled against, I don't know, teams with a bigger paint presence, I guess, and that's slightly like Georgia Tech's identity because, I mean, they're not going to defend super well with their guards. They're just kind of bigger on the inside. They try to be more physical than you, and that's one of the matchups I guess Clemson struggle with a little bit. So I would not mind it being Georgia Tech at all.
Yeah, I might be on that myself. Plus 5. All right. UCF, Arizona State. Sure, Goots has some thoughts on this one. It's probably the Sun Devils. That spread's moving a little bit in UCF's favor, though, down from plus 4.5 to plus 3.5. Any thoughts?
I like it. Give me the Devils.
Devils?
I don't know if you've watched any UCF games this year, but during halftime, they run their players' podcasts, and they act like they're literally going to the NBA. So, yeah, give me the Devils.
Okay. Well, maybe that's why they couldn't pull out that win against Arizona and why they only put up 48 points against Kansas a couple games ago. Well,
that was bad.
The Sun Devils are coming off of 2 losses, though, as well. It's not like they're playing great right this second, but they did cover against Baylor in that last game. They fought. They kept it close. Yeah, I don't know. Jovan, you got thoughts on this game? You think the Sun Devils get a big win here at home?
I don't know. I keep looking at it because, like, again, granted, like I just talked about this with a lot of the Big 12 home teams. I mean, UCF was 18-point dogs on the road against Arizona, and now you're staying out on the West Coast, still on the road for another game against Arizona State. And not only are you opening 4.5, 5, but you're catching steam down to 3.5. That seems a little odd to me, just a bit. And I don't know. I think they could be their identity is physicality. Not that it really matters when you play a lot of these bigger teams. Granted, they did play honestly pretty well. The offense did against Arizona, kept themselves in that game pretty comfortably. But I mean, I think there's a matchup in their favor on the interior a little bit against Arizona State. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's UCF at all.
All right. Moreno TTV coming in resubbing. Let's go, Moreno. Sure we can. Attaboy. Appreciate the sub, my man. 14 months. Dubs. All right. It's about that time, chat. We got to lock in. We got to cash a squad ride. Let's spend some time on it today. And let's get back on the saddle and find a WPOD for tonight. Jovan, you ready?
Yep.
Dude, so you run that shit. I want to see that damn train. All right, chat. Here's the deal. Squad rides this year have not been great, okay? 1-6 in 2025. We had 1 win to start it out. We've had 6 straight losers. I wish I was kidding. That is facts, all right? But here's another fact for you. 306, 245, and 14 all time. Okay, so my point is, stick with us. Bet this responsibly every day for a unit or two. Nothing more, nothing less. Trust the process. All right, betting's a roller coaster. We've had a tough start to the year. It's going to come back around, and we're going to start a squad ride hot streak tonight. All right? Jovan, favorite play tonight? Could be one of yours from the Sharp Report. Could be one we talked about today. Anything. Favorite play tonight? Any sport. Don't care what it is.
I think it just might be Texas Tech for me.
-6.5?
Yeah.
Okay. Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, locking them in. I really like USC. I really like Indiana. And I really like Arizona, to be honest with you. But I get with this first two plays, Indiana and USC first.
I can definitely get down with you on either of those. A little sketchy about Arizona, but the first two I'm in on for sure.
We'll leave them off then. I'm okay with going quality over quantity and going with those three plays. I do want to circle back, though, and make sure we didn't miss anything on the ice, on the hardwoods. Are there any other plays we might not have put down before BTL today, but that we talked through that we liked even better than some of these other options? Probably not today.
I don't think so.
Nothing on the ice really stood out. I'm going through CBB one more time. We got a Degen raid coming in. What's up, Degen? How about the Irish, man? I'm happy for you. W's.
Speaking of the Irish, I feel like the two playoff games, we didn't really align on for really either of them. I feel like that messed up squad ride mojo.
Yeah, that could have been
that could have been where we slipped late week because we weren't really able to put our most confident angles in on either side.
Yep. Sick money. I will not be going to Detroit, unfortunately. The tickets are insanely expensive, so we'll not be making that trip. And I also posted a video chirping Detroit, and I have every single Lions fan in my mention saying they want to kill me. So I probably will not be going to Detroit. I'll be staying home where it's safe. Okay? Degen coming in resubbing as well for 34 months. Let's fucking go, Degen. Let me know the POD that you crafted up on your stream before BTL today. What'd you craft up? What's the POD? Krabs, nice jersey pull on a Sunday, I bet. All right, let's go ahead and run the poll with these three plays. Excuse me. Texas Tech, Indiana, USC. 3 plays, 3 winners. Quality over quantity.
What if it's the Trojans?
On today's squad ride poll.
Trojans.
And all three of these plays are hitting. I have no qualms with any of these. They're all smacking. 3 plays, 3 winners. Lock the fuck in. Texas Tech, -6.5. Indiana, +3.5. USC, -2.5. 3 plays, 3 winners. 3 plays, 3 winners. Okay? Damn, I was going to say, if you needed tickets, let me know if you change your minds. Wow. Sick money. Hit my DMs, bro. Let's talk.
Mac Jones pull made the center guard pull look like a Soto jersey.
Dude, I mean, yeah.
Unbelievable.
The Mac Jones pull hurt. It hurt the soul. It hurt the soul.
It's all right. I like Mac Jones. I've got a soft spot for Mac Jones because he's been feeding Brian the ball late season, of course.
How about Brian Thomas, your guy, at the game as well, boots on ground, supporting his former teammate. Love to see that as well.
85 with Malik.
Sure. I'm sure the Giants fans will take that well.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors celebrating his buddy, former teammate, and now rival. Turner Mac, I would not mind a parlay on those 3 plays as long as it's less than a unit. Okay. Let's see what we're crafting up here. It looks like it's going to be the Trojans as of right now. Out to an early lead, but Texas Tech lurking in the shadows. Are they going to pull off the upset? We'll see.
Creeping.
All right. It's going to be close. The Red Raiders getting some late steam here. Chat, 3 plays, 3 winners. Indiana +3.5, USC -2.5, or Texas Tech -6.5. Get involved. All right, we do have the Surge stream starting right after this. We got Trent hosting, going over some winners for today. Please do me a favor, chat. Pitch Trent some winners. Give him some good sell jobs for today. Lock in. All right, give him all the help that he could possibly use and needs. Give him some freebie squares that you like for today as well. on Prize Picks. Okay. It's going to be USC, Jovan, -2.5. That one got weird. Happy to see the Trojans pulled it out, though. That ain't no problem. All right, W's. Love to see it. All right. Chat, WBTL today. We appreciate all of you and all the subbies. We'll catch you tomorrow, same time, same place. Stick around for the Surge stream. We'll be seeing.